Hey, didn't see you there. I'm Stitch, the host of Stitch Picks, and today we're going to be talking about my concert experience seeing Green Day this last summer. The concert itself was a big production in concept and execution. They toured with Smashing Pumpkins and Rancid as well, which are two big bands in their own right. Last year, which at the time of this recording would be 2024 as last year, both Dookie and American Idiot by Green Day hit landmark anniversaries, 30 years old and 20 years old respectively. So they played both of those albums in full, which is super hype because despite being possible normie picks, those are my two favorite Green Day records. And this was a concert experience that I thought was only possible in the limitations of Green Day Rock Band. I grabbed tickets as soon as I heard about it, got a friend to come with me, booked hotels, and made it to a show. We had nosebleed seats, but I danced and jumped as if I was in the pit. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There were three openers before them. Firstly, there was the band The Linda Lindas playing before the advertised triple header. I didn't know them other than their name before the show, but they were really good. I was admittedly jealous to see kids in their teens able to open for Green Day like I wish I could have done in my teens. But despite that, I did think they were really good. And they had a quasi-eclectic song lineup that really fit with what Green Day is about. At the time of the concert, the band members were 14, 16, 17, and 19. So pretty young group. It closed with a song about the importance of voting, and I heard a snide comment from the people behind me about how these kids can't even vote, which isn't entirely true because one of them is 19 in the United States. But to me, that's all the more reason that you'd write a song about it, because the decisions of all these people older than you will affect you as the younger generation, which is hardly fair. But I digress. They had energy, they were super talented, they worked the crowd, and I had a lot of fun watching them. They dropped an album last year. I haven't heard it, but I could see them being a band that is discussed more in conversations as time goes on in the punk scene. Rancid was up next, and they were pretty brutal, but in the good punk way. They played for what must have been less than 30 minutes, a very punk move. I'm admittedly underfamiliar to their stuff at the time of this recording, but I do want to get into them more. They came on, killed it, and left. Smashing Pumpkins was up next, and while I like Green Day a lot, I feel like generally I like Smashing Pumpkins' best output better than Green Day. Like if I were to put Dookie and American Idiot against Melancholy and Infinite Sadness and Siamese Dream, I would definitely pick the two Smashing Pumpkins records. Unfortunately, I don't feel like they were performing like they wanted to be there. Maybe they did and they just didn't show it, but they seemed to get on, play a bunch of guitar riffs, and get off. And not in the punk way. I'm not a huge fan of the more modern Smashing Pumpkins offerings, and I think for me it comes down to this. Their music up until their album Adore was good because it had the guitar riffage, but also the texture and the shoegaze aspect, and good melodic writing. And after they tried to take that formula and make it more electronic with Adore, people didn't receive it as well. And I think they defaulted back to mainly riffs instead of the songwriting and the texture stuff that I particularly love about their old stuff. I just feel like it became all riffs all the time, and that's just not why I'm here. And I think that translated in their performance. But they did kind of build up some energy when playing classics. Zero, Cherub Rock, and Jelly Belly were all big highlights for me for their portion of the concert. Now for the main event. The show started around 5 o'clock, and Green Day was scheduled to come on at 8. Their set was absolutely teased to all hell. The house music went off, and the crowd erupted into applause, but instead of the band coming out, they just played Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen over the speakers. There's something really special about that weird little song. I wish Freddie Mercury could see the ripples his beautiful, odd little child has made in music culture. As my friend pointed out while talking about the highlights of the evening that night after the concert, she noticed everyone, regardless of age, was singing along and helping propel the hype of the night. They had cameras showing people in the crowd bonding and singing together, and it was just a really beautiful moment. And it's just one of those popular songs that everyone knows the words to, and is just cool to hear people sing together. And if you don't know the words, that's totally okay. I'm definitely against shaming people into thinking they should know something about pop culture. And if you don't know it, check it out. I think it's a good song. Promotion of a famous song aside, Green Day didn't even come on after all of that. Instead, it was the Punk Bunny, known formerly as the Drunk Bunny and known to many as the Pink Bunny, the Green Day mascot. The bunny jumped around on stage while Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones was on, encouraging people to sing along to the hi-ho parts of the song. There were cartwheels and there was crowd interaction, but I was just ready to see Green Day at this point. After that, there was a flash of moments in Green Day's career in kind of this montage video timeline thing, mainly emphasizing the Dookie and American Idiot eras of Green Day. All of this while the Imperial March from Star Wars played. And my friend
Name and address withheld
noted the similarities between this and the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Finally, after the video montage, the band came on stage. Now, the show was advertised to be Dookie and American Idiot played straight through, but it was also the Saviors Tour, which is their latest record from 2024. The band opened with a track from Saviors, and I was a little afraid that we were going to get more of that than I would have preferred. Saviors is not particularly one of my favorite Green Day records. But despite this, they snapped right into Dookie right after that track. I'll probably do a full other video on this, but Dookie is an album that's really close to my heart. Which is funny to say about a record that is, for lack of a better word, juvenile. That sounds like a dig, and I really don't mean it to be. It's just accessible in its verbiage and simplicity in a way that's easy to reach people, which is what the appeal was for me in high school. When I was in track in high school, I would literally count the laps around the track for the 3,200 meter race by assigning each lap a different song from the record Dookie, which is incredibly dorky, but it's part of my personal Dookie lore. Hearing them play it all live and having that electricity and crowd participation, it was a lot. It was really cool. It was cathartic, and I almost cried during the song Pulling Teeth, of all places. I think during Welcome to Paradise, they had a big balloon that was like one of the airplanes on the cover of Dookie that dropped Bad Year blimps, and the stage had this big mushroom cloud like the album cover. Those stage pieces, as well as some of the visual aids they had on the screens, were referential to the comic strip nature of the album artwork and was really cool to see. I'd say the highlights of the Dookie portion were Having a Blast, Chump, Welcome to Paradise, Pulling Teeth, and FOD. And at the end of the Dookie set, they made to honor the secret hidden track All By Myself with an admittedly crappy but hilarious MIDI rendition with bad MIDI strings and whatnot, and Trey Cool jumping around the stage in this bathrobe. But this was important to give Billy Joe Armstrong and Mike Dirnt some time to change into their American Idiot outfits. Man, this really was the Green Day Eras Tour. Afterward, between the two sets, they played some other non-Dookie, non-American Idiot songs, like Know Your Enemy, which is kinda but they also played Brain Stew, which is just one of the best songs in their whole catalog. The American Idiot part of the set started rapidly and without warning. They had somehow exchanged the mushroom cloud set piece to a giant hand with the heart hand grenade set piece. It's amazing how quickly they must have done that, because I had no idea. You wouldn't have been able to tell. So props to the stage crew. They blasted through the American Idiot songs with hardly any talking in between, and Billy Joe must have asked everyone to say "Hey-yo" 30 different times throughout the set. If you've seen Green Day live, you know that's one of his things. It was comically frequent, but still a lot of fun, and everything I had kind of dreamed it would be. And they played well. There were a few songs that I felt like could have gotten bigger with texture or with volume. Boulevard of Broken Dreams and What's Her Name felt a little bit like they could have gone harder for me, but that's nitpicking. They sounded really good despite having crappy nosebleed seats, so kudos to the sound crew. A non-musical highlight for the show was during Boulevard of Broken Dreams, where everyone in the stadium had their phone flashlights on, and it was like a sea of lights. It was super, super cool. I'll put the picture right here. Some highlights of the American Idiot portion of the concert were Holiday, Are We the Waiting, Give Me Novocaine, Extraordinary Girl, Letter Bomb, Wake Me Up When September Ends, and Homecoming. Soon after What's Her Name was finished, they played a new song called Bobby Socks, which is good, one of my favorite songs from their latest record, but it's just kind of funny going from this big behemoth concept record of American Idiot to a song that has the chorus of "Do you wanna be my girlfriend?" It's just a little jarring is all. The encore, as one might have guessed, was Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. And on the last chorus, Mike and Trey came out to help Billy. Mike holding the chords, Trey strumming, and Billy Joe just standing there like this. Seeing the three of them standing on stage together at the end just felt right. As for the concert as a whole, it felt cinematic and like a movie. It was really healing to my younger self, who was robbed of the opportunity of seeing them in 2012 because of the iHeartRadio incident, of course. And I'm happy that I've had the chance to see them now. Not only that, but they played to of my favorite records of theirs. It was a good set. It was a long set with no pointed lows, really. Did you end up seeing the Green Day Saviors tour? What were your thoughts? Have you seen them before this latest run of shows? If they played Redundant or King for a Day, you've officially made me jealous, because those are the only two that I wish they'd played when I saw them. Make sure to tell me all about your Green Day concert experiences in the comments. And if you like Green Day or music in general, maybe you should subscribe. You can also check out some of my other videos. I do videos on a bunch of stuff. And I'm definitely going to be coming back to Green Day for a few more. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
I mentioned most everything else already, but I'll do a quick rundown. Like, subscribe,
Hit the bell.
and also consider becoming a patron, like my friend Ross here. Thank you so much for watching.